I'm Jean Haskell, and we're conducting an interview today for the Marshfield Story Project with Rita Copeland, and it's May 14th, 2021, and we're at the Twin Valley Senior Center. So, Rita, can you just tell me your full name, date of birth, where you were born?
My full name is, you really want my full name is Automega Rita Copeland.
Oh.
Do I have to give you my date of birth?
No, you don't.
Okay, I don't want to give you my date of birth.
That's fine.
But I go by my middle name, Rita. My first name, you will very seldom ever hear it again, but it is Automega. And it originated when my mommy was reading stories about Indians. And it was an Indian girl's name.
It's not that that's your native background, it's just that she liked the name.
She liked that name.
And did you not like it when you were growing up?
I didn't mind it much. I had a nickname of Miga. But about the 3rd, 4th grade, every time somebody would hear it, I had to spell it. Where did you get it and that? And so I just kind of switched over to my middle name. There was a teacher in the 3rd grade that said she had heard of it, or she had a student once before with that name.
Oh. But yeah, it made it easier to not have to explain yourself every time.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And were you born in Marshfield?
No, I was born in Heinsberg, Vermont. My dad used to manage dairy farms, and so we moved around a lot. But I was born there, and I grew up until I was 15 in New Hampshire, which people say I still have an accent, where are you from? But I don't get it. And then I was 15, just getting into looking at boys and all that good stuff, when my mom and dad separated and my mom moved to Plainfield, Vermont.
What brought her here?
What brought her here? Because I had an older brother and his wife here. And, you know, he kind of oversaw us. And coming from the city of Nashua, New Hampshire, to Plainfield, Vermont at the age of a teenager, 15, was quite a shock. And so growing up, I lived and graduated from Plainfield High School. And I lived in what they called the Carl Martin block, which had burned down. And so that happened right after I married my husband. And so
From Plainfield?
From Plainfield, and my mom was living in the block with my youngest brother and sister at the time.
So you had an older brother and a younger, so you had
Oh, there
family
were 10 of us that grew up together.
in Plainfield?
No, they, through the years, my mom and dad, my mom was married twice and she had 10 children in all. And then with my dad, we were all raised together. So when you worked on the dairy farms, I guess you could use all the help you could get.
Yeah, you had all the unhired hands you could use, right?
Right, but I never liked going in the barn, so
You had
I
other
didn't.
chores.
Right.
So what number are you
Yeah.
in the 10?
I think I am about the 7th.
So you had a lot of siblings.
Yes, and they were mostly boys, and they were mean
Whew.
and cruel and called me names.
Oh. Were you sensitive as a younger?
No,
No. Okay, so did it harden you even more?
I think so.
Maybe it prepared you for all your coming professional life. So welcome. Maybe we'll stay there. I was going to do community next, but we're going to talk about your role here as executive director. But you had other professions.
I did. I worked. I now live in Marshfield, because my mailing address is Plainfield, but I live on Maple Hill. I married a Marshfield man, and we lived in Berry City, the first 8 years or so of our marriage. And his parents lived here on Maple Hill in Plainfield. And of course, they wanted us to move, and so they gave us some land and we put our home up. And I've been here ever since.
Where do you live in Marshfield?
On Maple Hill.
Oh, you just said that.
Yes,
Okay,
up
sorry.
on Maple Hill.
Mhm.
And it was Copeland. Walter and Ines Copeland lived there many years, and she was a potter, and it was her parents that owned the place before. So it's been many years, many generations.
That's my background, is pottery. We were potters.
Really?
Yes.
Probably related, huh?
Yeah, all potters, through the clay.
Yeah, right.
So then, how long have you been executive director here?
I have been, I think going on 13 years.
Okay.
I worked, I started working at Sprague Electric in Barrie,
Yes.
and then I worked there for 5 years, and I went to Green Mountain Power and worked there just about a year or so, replacing a lady that retired. And then after that, I was hired at Central Vermont Hospital Medical Center. And I worked there for 35 years when they eliminated my job.
Which was?
I was supervisor over admissions and communications. And then I went into telecommunications and worked with my coworker friend, and we became great friends, setting up the conference rooms and doing the telephones and all that. And it's kind of amazing when I look back on it, because I loved the job. I loved working with people. And I put the physicians on pagers. And they weren't very happy when I did it, but they wanted me to work at getting rid of the overhead paging.
Oh.
If you were ever at a hospital all night long, you'd be woke, with the overhead paging. So I put them on pagers. And they weren't happy to begin with, but then they couldn't thank me enough, because it gave them their freedom on weekends and so forth. So that went well, and then they had 2-3 big conference rooms. So I proceeded in getting to set those conference rooms up with technology that could be used, for PowerPoint and presentations and microphones and all that. I even got into telecommunications, and now they talk about telehealth and telecommunications. I trained in telecommunicating, and I went to Burlington, was in the operating room learning how to, do the telecommunication part of it all. And I tried for many years to get it into our emergency room, but they weren't ready for it yet. So I did, a lot of the physicians did meetings via telecommunications, which was good. But the emergency room wasn't ready for it then, but now it's big time,
So you were on the cutting edge.
Yes. But it was interesting work and working with the many people. And so I know when they terminated the telecommunications position, then I was getting near retirement time. So when they eliminated the job, I went into retirement from there. I know the physicians were very unhappy, and they still today will come and tell me that, when I run into them, because I was just very active and
appreciated it.
and appreciated and added a lot, I think, to making things more streamlined and easier to use.
Well, and people are really, they don't like change, so to have somebody help
it's
them
hard.
along, right?
Yes,
And so,
but
yeah.
it was very good. I missed it very much, and I retired. And I didn't like it.
Is that how you transitioned to here?
Well, then my husband was ill and he passed away, and I live out in the country, and although my children are nearby or were nearby, I don't really have hobbies or anything. I just want to be with people. So I went to work for the state at the State House, and I worked at the Sergeant of Arms office. And I did that for 2 sessions. And one time my boss said to me, he says, Rita, if expressions could talk, he said, you are bored. I said, you have no clue how bored I am. And so then I saw the ad in the paper for executive director of the senior center in Marshfield, and I never heard of the senior center in Plainfield or Marshfield. But I applied, and lo and behold, Joyce Fowler was on the board of directors, and she knew me, and so I went for a couple of different interviews, and I was able to get the job. And it was like they hired me for 30 hours a week, which was good. You know, perfect, but it's never been 30 hours a week.
Then more.
A lot more.
Oh.
But I just enjoyed it very much. And there again, I feel that I've added to society, and I hope I've given back, you know, to the people that did so much for us.
You're talking about the veterans.
The veterans, the seniors.
Right.
And so there's a long story behind the whole starting the senior center, bringing it into life. I know I walked into the local store one day and somebody said, you're not at the hospital anymore. What are you doing? I said, I'm running the senior center, Twin Valley. What's that? So that was my first clue. Something needed to be done.
And so when you got the job, did the senior center exist? Had it existed for a
It did
while?
exist. The senior center has existed since 1982, I believe, in different places. But at the time, it was at the end, I think, November of 2008, when I took the job. And it was at the old schoolhouse in Marshfield, at, you know,
Schoolhouse Common.
the old schoolhouse common in the kitchen area, the dining area at the old schoolhouse. And so we worked there. Of course, they only had like 5 to 8 people come. And they cooked meals and had a meal together, and it was really nice. And then they were outsourcing Meals on Wheels to Necky in Montpelier. And the bus that used to bring the seniors to the center would pick up the meals at Necky and bring them to the old schoolhouse. The drivers would go there and pick them up and deliver them to the people. And I thought that was very strange because they were paying $6.50 per meal. And I think they did, I don't even know if they were doing 30 meals a week, I don't remember. But I thought, this is strange, you're cooking here. Why are you doing this? Why can't we do it here? So Joyce Fowler and Cass Phillips and a couple of the women from Plainfield who were volunteering there, I talked to them about it and I says, can't we put this together if I get the equipment? And Winnie Mundinger was the cook there. She's in Marshfield. And I think that kind of scared her away, but I think it scared her away because, you know, you had guidelines and certain rules and regulations we follow and so forth, and I got the equipment, and lo and behold, we started cooking our own meals, got delivery bags. And
So did you get the stove put in there? Or was, when you say equipment, do you mean?
I meant equipment to do the Meals on Wheels, like
Oh.
sealing machines, the trays, the delivery bags and all that.
Wow. So you had to research that?
Right, and Council on Aging, there were the other senior centers, they're wonderful, and they all reached out to help me and guide me. And
So it started there. Did it
so
come-
that's really where it started, and it got so we expanded and grew, and I ran out of room there. So we took and we added another room on up there, and we outgrew that right away. And it took me a long time to convince the board that we needed to get a bigger place. And I had spoke with Steve Ribellini, used to own this building back when it was a church and everything. And I tried to convince the board for months and months, if we could rent this place, it would be perfect location. I went to North Montpelier. I went everywhere looking for a space, but we even had an offer of land, but it was up on the Groton Road, to put up a place, and that wasn't really central. To make a long story short, this came available, and Steve Ribellini called me, and he says, Rita, my wife and I want you to move here with the senior center. And so it took a long time to convince the board because we were paying a lot more per month. But I said and so we did that 6 years ago. And Stanley Fowler and his son in Plainfield, who are carpenters, came and they did the remodeling and all that free of charge. And I worked with them for about 3 months to get it ready to move the seniors down here.
Why do I have the feeling that your good nature and generosity got all this going?
Well, it just takes working together. It takes caring.
Mm-hmm. And people,
You treat people the way you want to be treated, and
so that people must see that and then want to pitch in.
they go above and beyond.
Yeah.
And they have since we've been here. I mean, this is our donor board, and that I haven't updated in the last 3-4 years, but people are so kind. And so to make a long story short, I know in running this center, I know I'm not a businesswoman because I'm thinking about our elderly. I'm thinking of their Social Security, what they live on, their needs. I know that they love the socialization. It's like a disease. They can get very lonely.
Oh, you mean being old is like a disease?
Yes,
Yeah.
and isolation in this area is terrible. Getting places is very difficult. I have attended so many meetings. I've been on so many panels fighting to get transportation and fighting to get, more benefits and services.
How did you get the word out? I mean, if there were only 4 or 5 people in the beginning, how were you getting the word out?
Through,
Was it just word of mouth?
yeah, through PR and public relations and word of mouth and doing the meals. I know the first time I saw a meal, I paid attention that was being cooked somewhere else and brought in. I took it, I think it was my 2nd month as director, and the meal came back and I was paying attention to it. They brought back a meal and I looked at it, it was a blood sausage. And I looked at that and I was so upset. And I took it to the board meeting that night, and I guess I kind of threw it on the table and I said, would you like your parents to eat this? I mean, you can't do that. You have guidelines, You have that plate to fill with the proper nutrition.
Right.
And so...
What an advocate, so you are quite the advocate.
Well, I just...
Well, it's an interesting combination of work because you're in this sort of business role, but you are really, you care about the people and you're more like an advocate.
I
for
do
them.
care about it, and I always said to my social workers at the hospital, I wish I could do this, And they tried to encourage me to go and get the certification. I said, no, I can't do that. I'd get too attached to become a social worker, you have to
You're just
train.
natural.
And I said, I can't do that because I get so attached. So what do? Get a senior center. It's crazy. It's crazy. But anyway, back to our seniors coming. We don't charge dues, monthly, annual dues. We have free transportation through.
You have annual dues?
No, we do
annual
not.
Dues or no dues?
No dues at all to
Free
come to this. The transportation is paid for through Central Vermont Council on Aging and government funding, in the 6 towns that we serve, and we do serve 6 towns.
Which 6?
There's Cabot, Marshfield, Plainfield, East Montpelier, Woodbury, and Calais, and East Calais, and Ad, most of them. And that's always been since almost the beginning. The senior center started in Marshfield and Plainfield. I think I sent you that information.
Yeah,
and then they expanded it. It was Marshfield and Plainfield, and they expanded it out through the years.
And how many people do you serve now?
Right now, we are serving, I want to say 42 to 45 people a week on Meals on Wheels. And we were serving, between counting our volunteers that were working, 20 to 25 to 30 people here at the center 3 days a week.
And it sounds like you have these classes.
And we have what we call our bone builders classes. We have a Tai Chi classes. We were having yoga. They were having yoga, meditation. We've had art classes, which we do have to charge for the activities like that, because we have to pay the teachers, but we keep it just about to the cost of the teachers. Mm-hmm. But the exercise classes and things like that, we do not charge, because it's more important for them to get out of the chairs and go to classes, and they do.
So you want to see them healthy, being fed well.
Right. I do keep a donation box there, and many people that come in from the community, they support it very well.
And aside from the donations, how is this funded?
We are funded through Central Vermont Council on Aging through a contract, our yearly contract that covers the number of meals that we serve. We are reimbursed $3.46 a meal, which is nothing. It costs us between $10 and $12, I don't have the exact amount, to produce that meal, But our Meals on Wheels people are so grateful that they donate towards the meals. We ask $5 donation coming in the door, or Meals on Wheels for anyone 60 and up. We ask $6 for anyone 60, below 60.
Mm-hmm. But it's a donation,
and if they cannot donate, that's perfectly fine. We deliver the meals anyway. We really do. And so Central Vermont, Vermont Center for Independent Living, sometimes if they have people that they support for meals, they will also contact us, and we will deliver meals to them, and they reimburse us $6.50 a meal, so yay. But the Senior Centers of Vermont have formed, I believe it was last year, Senior Center Association, and we have advocates that go to legislature and so forth, and the government.
You just did, right?
And they're trying to get us more money per hour towards our per hour, more money per meal than what we're getting reimbursed, and the federal government.
You just were talking with Bernie Sanders?
Oh, Bernie Sanders supports Meals on Wheels and the Older Americans Act. It's wonderful. And we were just chosen by an anonymous person through Bernie Sanders selling the Minton photographs in there. We were chosen to receive $16,000. I got this wonderful letter. I was so excited. And so as long as it goes towards Meals on Wheels, and that is why we're redoing the front of the building to accommodate the drivers to be able to pick up the meals and all that.
You're not just sitting on your haunches, you're improving all the time, and it sounds like you're just constantly...
I know, and I should retire, my kids tell me, but I don't know how. I didn't like it, and people think I'm nuts, but I'm sorry.
So...
I'm healthy, I'm good health, and I'm just gonna keep going.
Sounds like it feeds your soul.
It does. I don't travel, and I don't have a lot of hobbies, and so yes. I have my 91-year-old sister that lives with me. You know, she moved with me. She lost all her siblings, and she moved with me 6 years ago. But she can take care of herself, so it's just making a home for her.
Right, so you have your independence.
I have my independence, and it's ironic that she used to take care of me when I was young.
Oh, what a nice...
So what goes around comes around. Yes.
So, what accomplishments in the center are you most proud of?
I think building the center so people know us, know about us. I have a lot more outreach work to do as we go on, bringing in many more programs. We have, I've worked with AARP, and they do free tax preparation for any low-income person anywhere. And that's a big, big saving to people.
Is that the tax clinic you're talking about?
That's the tax clinic. It doesn't cost a thing. The people are wonderful. And I've had the same person for the last 6 years. And he just wants to stay here doing them because he just loves the center and the people that come here in the area.
That's not Paul Spur, is it?
No, it's Jim McQuestion from AARP. He just loves it here. And we've had some great people, and there's people that work with him that are terrific too, and they like it very much. They usually do their training here also. No, I have voicemail. It's okay.
I'm going to let that go before I ask you another question.
I heard it was a call from Ben and Jerry's. Maybe they want to give us a grant.
Oh, do you need to answer it?
I'll get back to it.
They're nice and generous.
They are very generous and very nice. So yes, and so that is one of the accomplishments. I have worked hard to try to bring in the younger generation, the intergenerational center I really would like to see. And as you look around the room, you will see pictures of seniors where I had the Maple Hills School and Farm. Their students come, and they were looking for projects to do, and I says, interview these seniors. They're just full of history. And a lot of them, it's very local history. And they started doing that, and so therefore I have pictures. They took their picture, they did a little bio on each one of them. They put them in frames, they put them in an art show and won.
So this is children interviewing.
These are mostly teenage troubled children, and they did such a great job, and then they donated the pictures.
Wow.
And so I have them around the center.
That's nice.
And then a lot of the art, the first art class we had here donated several art pieces they did, and they donated them for us to sell. We've sold a lot of those. You know, to help the center, people want to help.
You sound creative.
It's just their center. It's not our center. It's the community's center. So yes,
So it's had quite the impact.
So,
On
yes,
people's
and
lives.
it's very much needed in this area because we do foot clinics and it's a lot cheaper than a podiatrist. And the nurses are RNs that do them. We have flu clinics that cost nothing, but it's, instead of going to the city, the auditorium or somewhere, it's much more convenient to come here.
Yeah, so you're addressing a lot of health and wellness needs.
Needs
You know,
in the
mental,
community.
the isolation, the physical stuff, the functional stuff like taxes. You've got
Right.
quite a broad.
I think we're doing good for our area. If we could just get the transportation companies to come put out there and get into the little towns.
And are you know, part of an association, so is this similar to what other people do, or are you doing?
I think we're doing a lot more for our size. I think we're doing a lot more because some of the organizations are, you know, they have endowments, and some are under city budgets. And I think that for what we're doing, I'm very proud of it because I think we've come a long way. And it's brought communities closer together, I think. I mean, we need to expand here. We have definitely outgrown it. We need more Meals on Wheels space. We need more exercise room. And we need more dining space. I mean, we do a Veterans Day dinner where we invite veterans free of charge, and we usually give them a wonderful roast pork dinner. I go out to the stores and they might donate desserts, so it's special Veterans Day cakes or cupcakes. And then I ask them to bring their spouses or bring a guest and donate $5 for that guest meal. You can't even move in the dining room. I mean, we need more space. And when we do community dinners, we have to do a lot of fundraising. And when we do the dinners, we have to have 2-3 settings or 2 anyway, because we don't have space. And I open up the exercise room, open the windows in between, and set people in there. We've even had people in our clinic room set up, so we need more space.
Are you planning to, I mean,
We are planning to.
Because you've got the land.
Yes, we are going out for the big grants. We have the land and we do want to expand. We did work with the East Montpelier Association on senior housing, and that kind of dissolved. I went to many meetings, you know, because it would have been wonderful to have the senior center located inside a senior housing area. And they folded. So then a couple of the people that stayed with it started meeting with us. But we do have the space here for 5 or 6 single-family units for senior housing. We have 4 apartments. We just purchased this building.
You just purchased it?
We purchased it last June.
Wow.
Because
during
COVID, we were working on it a year or 2 before that, and the landlord wanted to sell, and I didn't want us to have to move again. And if somebody else bought the building, you don't know what they would have done with it, and we would have had to either dissolve, or because there's no place big enough for us, or any place that we could really be comfortable in.
Oh my goodness.
So that took a lot of work, but we did do a campaign and we got a great outpouring to purchase it. And so we did get to meet our down payment. And so we purchased the building. There are 4 apartments here. And they're rented most all the time. It's
For seniors?
No,
No,
just apartments. The apartments, it's an old place,
and
old
they're
building.
upstairs
And it's not for seniors.
Yeah.
But they're good rental income apartments, so that's good. That helps us make the mortgage. It pays the mortgage almost. And so, yes, there is room here to put 4 or 5 senior, and we were hoping that was going to happen, but they weren't moving fast enough. We needed to talk more on expanding the center and put that first.
So
And
it won't be just more apartments, it'll be more
space for the center. The center needs it. It won't be maybe a couple thousand square feet, but it will be enough to, and I look into the future, to continue on and hold more than what you expect, because you got to go there. Not that I'll still be here, but you got to do the planning that way.
So what happened during COVID?
COVID shut us down terribly, except we have wonderful volunteers. They wanted to keep Meals on Wheels going. I wanted to keep Meals on Wheels going. The board won.
If they can't come here, then at least
They've got to get the meals. And these meals are all home cooked from scratch right here, and always have been. And I know that's what increased our Meals on Wheels when we started cooking them ourselves. That went up. I mean, we do 1,000 meals a month. So that goes out.
50 a week.
Yeah, by the time you have husband and wives, you have meals, they can get them for as many days a week as they need, as many meals as they need. And so it comes right around 1,000 meals a month that go out of here. So we are making a difference. We are helping to keep our elderly in their homes where they want to be.
And do you plan to fully reopen sometime soon?
I can't wait. I cannot wait. It's so sad to talk to our clients that came. They're so lonely. They can't wait.
Well, the CDC just said yesterday that all of us vaccinated people can be without masks and social distancing. So.
But there's a lot more to it than when you come to the senior center. I need to, in fact, I was in a meeting for 2 hours yesterday. Can we use our dishes? Do we have to get disposables? Do we need to have someone checking temperatures? There's just an awful lot to it.
Legal,
we don't have
legal liability.
Right. Not only that, but for the safety of our seniors, they're the vulnerable, their population has got to be protected.
Yeah.
But when you got to be 6 feet apart, we just don't have the space. So they've got to come down with that.
Well, they did yesterday. They said we can be indoors without masks and without social distancing.
Right, but they didn't say anything about distance.
They did.
They did?
I heard a CDC woman say,
okay,
we don't have to social distance either.
Okay, because I've checked with our clients. I felt all excited because our clients, we checked to see if they're vaccinated, and they are. And my drivers the last one just got the second. So they have not been able to go into the homes through COVID. They've left the coolers out on the porches. We purchased coolers and stuff for people, and they had to leave the meals outside. But now, I'm just talking to them, they can go in the homes.
Yay.
So the seniors have got to be excited.
You have to have a double number of coolers? They drop it off and pick it up when they're next?
No, the coolers are at their homes, and the drivers take the meals out of their bags.
Oh, I see.
Because when the meals leave here, they have to be a certain temperature, and when they arrive there, they got to be a certain temperature. And so we test meals, every so often. We have heated bag for the hot meals and cold bags for the frozen meals. I'm long-winded, aren't I?
No, it's quite interesting. And I'm just going to sort of circle around to your life growing up here a little bit.
Okay.
You said it was quite a shock to move from Nashua, and I know Nashua, we're both from Massachusetts, and up to here. So tell me about that shock. What was the shock?
The shock was moving from the city, just getting interested in those nice things at the age of 15 and 16. where they were all around you, moving to a town like Plainfield, where there's a stone wall and a church and a store.
And that's it.
And one high school. That was it.
So the Nashua was more suited to who you were then?
Right, but I was younger.
Right.
I mean, I was younger and wasn't allowed to do. I was just getting to the age where I could go to a football game or a school activity and so forth.
But now that you're not 15 anymore, is this more suited to who you are?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I would. In fact, I took my husband one time. Went on a short weekend trip, and I took him. I said, let's go down and I'll show you where I lived in that. It had changed so much and grown so much I couldn't even find the street.
Wow, it has. It really has.
And I never have driven through traffic like Boston or those places. And I had to drive to Boston for training on computers when we were getting ready at the hospital. And I'll tell you, I prayed for stop signs. My hands were frozen on the steering wheel. I was all by myself, and it was awful. And I did get on a wrong street, and I didn't know how I was going to get to the right place. I cannot do that. And my children are, in South Carolina, they're moving away and stuff. You're going to come? I said, if I come, it'll be by airplane. I said, and it will be a nonstop flight.
I know what you mean. I learned to drive in Boston, and then when I came here, I had to learn how to be civil.
I have taken trips with my granddaughters driving just to Burlington, and no thank you.
It's fast-paced.
Too fast for me.
So what was your favorite thing? Once you moved here and settled in and got used to life here, what's your favorite thing about being a Marshfield resident, living here?
It was living out in the country. I had lived in apartments and things like that, and having the home and being able to raise my children out in the country, because I did live in Berry City. We bought our first home there. It was Berry Town, and it was wonderful. We bought an old farmhouse up off Richardson Road, but not knowing what I was doing, and 2 weeks later they were putting in a housing development after we signed papers. And so I had the 3 young boys, or 2 of them, and the neighbors had all new houses. I had the old farmhouse, so everybody's children come to play at the old farmhouse. And having boys, they were mostly girls. And then the neighbors would complain that my boys hit their girls. And so I watched them one day, because I got sick of it all, and I watched them out playing. It wasn't the boys hitting the girls, it was the girls hitting the boys. It was the girls starting it. And I thought to myself, okay, boys, you've been really good. You've done what I told you to do, never hit a girl or anything. Defend yourself. So then I got out of town.
Got out of Dodge. So you had you have 3
I had men, yes, I had three boys then. I've had 4 boys.
4 boys.
Yes.
And so did you move from Berrytown to Marshfield?
Yes, thanks to my father-in-law. I really wanted to, when we put our house on the market for sale, I kind of wanted to live in Berlin. But my husband was one who did not like debt. So, but I thought we have enough money to purchase a piece of land in Berlin and put up a home. But land in 8 years had gone sky high in Berlin, Vermont. And on the other arm was my father-in-law pulling him to come to Marshfield on Maple Hill. And I didn't know that at first. So I kind of was
behind the scene.
Right.
Do you regret it?
No, I do not. I do regret having the house that I had, a big old farmhouse. So all the holidays were at my house and everything was at my house. But then, I don't know what changed. I ended up with a small home, a 3-bedroom, in Marshfield, on Maple Hill. But then the holidays and everything seemed to still come. Buffet style.
Cool. You made it work.
And I know growing up, it was good raising the boys. They had to work. We used to raise our own meat. And my father-in-law, we always cut wood off the land and all that.
Yeah, so you had
So the
pigs
boys,
and cows? Meat, pigs and cows?
yes, pigs and
Chickens?
cows and chickens. And I always wanted ducks, but after I got them, I didn't want them anymore. Within about 2 weeks, my yard was nothing but icky. I didn't know that.
There's a lot of people.
I was a city girl,
Very town.
So I got rid of those fast, but yes. And it was good, and the schooling was good. After I got used to the country school, it was good coming from...
Getting used to.
Right. It did a little bit, because I was going in the 9th grade, and, coming from high school to the 9th grade was a little different. From the city 9th grade to the country 9th grade.
Right. Probably a lot less people in your class.
Like so, yeah. We had the smallest, I believe, graduating class, and there was 9 of us. 9 of us in the senior class. So yeah, interesting life.
Yes. Wow.
And so raising the boys, and I graduated from high school and met my husband there. He was a little older than me, but we fell in love and had the 4 boys. And then my boys went to Twinfield. And they always had to learn, if they wanted things, they had to work and pay for half. Like, Nike sneakers and stuff like that, because they never took care of anything. But they did after they had to pay. Half of them.
They were invested.
They were invested. But when it came to proms and graduations and so forth, we really didn't have the money, nor did they, to go to the restaurant and do it all up proper. So I used to save my pennies, and they get corsages, and I did their meals at my house. And they would come and have dinner there and then go off to the prom.
And the girls were fine with that.
They were fine with that. And graduation parties, I always felt I wanted them where I knew what they were doing. And so I held 4 different graduation parties at my home. Some parents thought that was terrible, but I thought it was good because we knew where they were. Wasn't always on top of what they were doing, but we had a sheriff, to take the car keys, and in case they got into liquor or drinking or anything. We had a sheriff we used to have come and took care of that part of it.
So you've been a social director all your life?
I guess I have. Yeah, but it's been fun.
Yeah.
A lot of memories.
You're clearly built for it.
A lot of memories.
So what do you least like about living in this community?
Nothing. I even have neighbors, so if I run out of something, I can run to my neighbors. That used to be going to the city to get supplies if you ran out or something, or paying a lot more in your...
As a kid, we're skipping around, but as a kid when you moved from Nashville, were the people different?
Yeah, I think they were more, of course it wasn't as populated. And there were a lot of busybodies. And I was a young girl, and of course I dated an older man, and of course I had to get married and all that. And I said, I'll prove them wrong, and I did. And, I just...
By not marrying, you mean you...
No, I got married, but I didn't have a child for over a year. I just had to make my point. But no, I love our neighbors, and
So do you
it's so.
use services here? Do you use the library, the Stranahan Forest, or, how do you?
The libraries, the Jakewith
Yeah.
Library in Marshfield and the Cutler used to join together, and they used to come by, especially when we were in Marshfield, once a month bringing books, or, would come and have books. And then we moved here, and we did it a few times. The Jakewith came. But then, there wasn't that many getting books from them. And so we kind of stopped it. But then I said, there's no reason we can't have our own library. We have a library. And so people give us, in fact, I was putting books up there this morning. We just cleaned out a while ago from last year, a lot of books. And people come and they borrow books, they bring back books, or they bring in new books. And so people that come into the center do that.
Oh, so if I had books, you might want to?
Would love to have books. We do that. And then if we get overabundance and people aren't moving them, then we take them to Resource Store. So we have our own library.
Very good.
I do have a lady by the name of Pat Mayhew from Marshfield, who comes and plays once a month when we're open. And we do a sing-along, which is a lot of fun. And some of the community members come in for that, too.
Nice.
They don't come for any other reason, or they don't come here. They'll come in and do that.
So she plays the piano. That's why you have
the piano was donated from a lady that moved here from Connecticut. I think her mom lived in Connecticut. And she passed away here. I think over in Sandy Pines Trailer Park. And she called me one day, could you use a piano? And I said, not really. I was thinking it was one of the big pianos, and we don't have room. She said, this is a small one. I want to send you a picture of it.
Spin it, yeah.
And she said, my mother always wanted it to go to a senior facility. And so I was very happy to receive it. And we had it tuned up and keep it tuned, and yes, Pat.
You have Pat to play it.
And Pat comes in to play it. We have songbooks, and people love that. So.
Couple of more questions. How has Marshfield changed since you've lived here?
Grown a lot. I don't get involved that much in the Marshfield Marshfield activities. I did get involved with the revamping of Marshfield. I started that, but then I got so busy here that I couldn't attend the meetings. But I do have it set up so that I get the information from their meetings and so forth, John is wonderful. I think his name is John Devant or something like that. And so, and we keep in touch. And the senior center there again is a part of the town of Marshfield, and we want to keep up and do what we can. I worked with a couple of my neighbors, back when there was a lot of break-ins in your homes and so forth, and we started the neighborhood watch. We had many meetings and got everything done, and did that for Marshfield, the neighborhood watch in our Maple Hill area. Of course, there's the Lad Pond Road and the John Fowler Road and all that. And the governor came when we put up signs, and we put up the signs, or the towns helped put up the signs on the roads we covered.
And there was an opening ceremony kind of thing with the
Well, it was
governor,
just,
or
I thought we should advertise it, and the governor was so sweet. I knew him anyway from working down there, and he had a lot to do with my sons through the National Guards and all that. In fact, was Governor Douglas. I have his picture with my son and another soldier from Afghanistan that my son, he went over there to visit, met my son and my son asked him for a picture, and he sent the flag and donated the picture to Twin Valley Seniors.
So Douglas went to Afghanistan?
Yes.
And met your son there?
Yes.
By accident, or did he look for him?
No, I think it was by accident. I believe it was in their dining hall over there.
Wow.
And then my son sent that picture to the center.
Wow. Great it's nice having it on the wall.
Well, I've got to get my other year of veterans done, and I hope I can keep them on the walls. I know I've had a couple of comments about the flag being there and about somebody's found it offensive, and I kind of lost it and said it's not going anywhere as long as I'm here.
Who does the photos for you?
I sent them as a company online. Don't ask me the name of it right now, I have it. And they're out of Canada.
Okay.
And I send them a photograph. It's very inexpensive. And I just think it's something. Memorial Day, I always have a guest, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, I always have a guest speaker come in, and, it's just, it gives the seniors such a wonderful ability to be able to thank the soldiers and so forth.
Right.
And they get up and the soldiers speak and tell about their years of service, and it's
That's
just
great.
a great.
That, to have done so much and to be, feel the value they provide.
And they do, and we have in our area, the towns we cover, we don't even cut the cake very big.
Wow.
I know there's a lot more.
Yeah. Well, you're getting known more and more. So.
Yes, and we have been out, we try to get in the local parades when they have them and things like that, so yes.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
what haven't I asked you that I should?
Well, I don't think I've
important
given
to
you a much chance to ask much.
Oh,
I just keep talking and talking.
What? But you've been covering my questions perfectly. Perfectly. So
I think we're fine. It's just help us reach out. Outreach is so important, to get the word out about our meals, to help people be able to stay at their homes. The intergenerational part of it, the working with other organizations in the communities that we serve. I know that I don't have a lot of outreach in Woodbury, Calais, East Calais. I would like to bring us all together. I'd like for our board to be able to have a member representative from each town. And I want that so bad, but I'm not having much luck.
Really?
It's really an hour a week, and I just want every town to have a voice.
Right.
I really do, and help us. How can we get out there? How can we help those towns? How can we, before COVID, I was planning on going to each town and take cookies and coffee or tea and, try to get into the gatherings that are going on there, or sit there and have people come to me. But it's hard to put it in the newsletters.
Yeah.
We do have newsletters.
Do you use Front Porch Forum?
And I do use Front Porch Forum. Yes, very much so. But it's just difficult.
Yeah, I know. It's sometimes it just takes like a store. You have to go in once and see what they do. If people really
Getting
see
them
what
here.
you do, getting them here.
I have people, or I have had it, I hope I have them back, people that have taught classes from Barry here. They go to Barry Senior Center, but they love it here too. And I've had many people come from Montpelier and the different surrounding towns come and have meals. They see what it's like. The Barry singers, they have a group. And
Oh, yeah.
the Young at Heart singers, they come and they perform here, and they just love it. And when they come, there's not enough room for all of us. It's hard.
So you're doing so much coordinating when seniors are actually here? Are
Yeah.
you out and about? with
Oh,
them?
I spend time with the seniors. I have to.
Wow, so you're doing the back end and the front end?
Right, I did, the board was kind enough to help me get an assistant, 15 hours, just the telephone doing that, and the paperwork, is a big, big help. But I don't sit, I do come and talk to them every morning. I try to greet them with coffee, and we have a snack and coffee and juice and stuff. So yes, because I have to.
So maybe this month you might open up
I think it'll be closer to July.
to July.
I think
Because
it will
You have to
be.
find out all those things.
There's a lot of things to find out. Volunteers are a big part,
Right.
because I have volunteers that are in the dining room waiting on the seniors, getting their
You have to
snacks.
get all the staff back up and running.
And right, and I don't know who's gonna come back and who isn't. We've lost a couple of our dear volunteers. We lost Charlie. We just lost a big volunteer, Robert Morse, who was the mailman, and he went very quickly, but he volunteered here. He served the meals. He knew everybody, and there's people that have been taken ill, and
With
it's been hard.
With COVID, or?
No.
No, just,
No, just age.
yep, just age. It happens.
Yes, it does, and that's why I'm not a social worker.
Too heartbreaking?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, you have a big heart.
but it's great.
I appreciate meeting you and all of, the heartfulness that you bring to this work. It isn't just a job, obviously.
It's very simple to do that. It really is with the people. It's why I love Marshfield and I love this area,
Because people help each other.
Not only that, they appreciate everything you do.
Mm-hmm.
It's appreciated. I know it. I feel it. I wouldn't care if I ever got a paycheck. I'd do it,
Wow.
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 But it's hard. Sorry.
Well, I just so appreciate meeting you, and thank you for making it easy to do this. Communicating was easy, and
Well, I'm quite the talker.
well, and I think we're good. I think we wrapped it up. I think it's good. Is there anything you need?
Oh, good.
Okay.
No.
Can I get up?
You
can.
Yeah.
I just get teary-eyed when I talk.
Yeah,
Well, we should have offered.
No, I just, when I talk about them, I do.
Yeah.
It's a habit.
And it's good, you got a picture of that?
I
And I
did.
think when she's talking about the donor board, it might be nice to get that, or you got a picture?
I know I haven't got it updated. I want to eventually here.
I did, and I need to get the light out of the way to do that.
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
No, feel
And
free.
And as far as the tour, I'm thinking that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, would you like to do a tour?
I'm thinking not while it's all discombobulated.
Oh, no, come back when we are open.
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, you gotta come back when we're
Great.
open.
Okay.
I'll even have lunch, you have lunch on me.
Oh,
I mean, we could see a little, maybe if some people are around and that's appropriate, filming.
Oh, yes.
okay, that sounds,
They would love it.
Okay,
that
great.
sounds great.
They would love it.
Okay,
And they love the little children that come. Sometimes the daycares come. You should have seen these Callis go above and beyond, and Twinfield did too. I think it was Mother's Day. It was Christmas time, and then they hit Mother's Day, and then they hit Earth Day. The students made cards that we put in the Meals on Wheels. And I think it's in my newsletters. Some of the remarks we got, they sent back remarks about receiving those cards. And I had one gentleman call me who can be very short, with younger children. He called up, he thought those cards, he says it was so wonderful getting those cards.
oh.
And I was thinking to myself, when you want to play cribbage and you don't want to be disturbed, you think of that when the children come in. But I didn't. But no, it's just touching.
Yeah, yeah.
And to see their faces, oh God.
We're gonna see our grandchildren for the first time in almost a year,
Oh,
next week.
I'm going to have a cookout. I said I'll have a cookout in July. I have got new ones that haven't seen each other, and 2-year-old ones.
Oh,
So that's great.
I'm so impressed.
Well,
I'm
it's,
glad you're in our community.
I
I'm
just,
in your community.
well, I mean, when we moved here, we're still using the same stuff we brought with us. We've had people that pass away, and they've had donations come to the center. And that chest over there was built with Irene Brown, money from her memorial, that we had built to put our dishes in and stuff. It was sad because she died probably a month before we moved here. And she was a great supporter of the center. And then so.
She knew you were moving though.
Oh yeah, she definitely did.
She knew she was part
Yes,
of it.
because, you know, when we started to move here, I worked here probably 3 months with the carpenters, you know, doing what I could do to help. And so, you know, the seniors knew when I wasn't there. I used to go say good morning, but then I'd come and work the rest of the day here. But little things like that. There was a gentleman who called me. He had built the table over there behind my assistant's desk. This little table built for his dad to do puzzles on. And after his dad passed, he said, Rita, could you use a table? Of course, the seniors do puzzles all the time.
All the time, do they?
And it just worked out so perfect.
Okay.
Yes, we thinned a lot of them out because the table, the 500 is big enough. But, oh yeah, they always have a puzzle going. Yeah, everything is just torn apart, and it's going to take a little bit to get us back together.
Right.
But we will do it in a quick heartbeat once we know we can have them.
Yeah.
But there's bus schedules, there's volunteers,
Did you
there's...
get pictures of those? Because she was talking
These were the latest
Okay.
ones. These were the first ones,
Okay.
and there's so many of them that have died now.
Oh,
So I said to the students a year or two later, you know, we have new seniors and we have seniors that need stories done. Can you do that again? But it's a wonderful project, I think.
Well, I just
You can
love how
almost
you're
wallpaper.
I love how you're
Yeah.
getting the generations interacting in so many
Oh,
ways.
it means it so much. It
Yeah,
really
because you
does.
don't want to just be a home, suddenly you live all your life with all the generations, and then
Yeah.
suddenly you're just all by yourself,
But it's history.
and it's history.
These people are so full of the way, you know, they didn't get a school bus to their doorstep and all that.
Right.
They went through the mud with the horses and the wagons.
And that was, so the basis of our project was to capture almost
the history.
generations
Oh.
and the history as
Oh,
well.
yes.
We interviewed Audrey Huntington.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And
She's
she
been
told
a
us
big
that way
part.
back. Has she?
And she does knitting, she still does knitting. I have a knitting group that does cancer patients and for new babies.
Oh.
And anytime we get donations of yarn or anything, we send to Audrey. And of course, her son Roger was a cook for me and has been a volunteer with the senior center for a long, long time.
Wow.
And Audrey used to come, you know, so. Yeah, it's
Cool.
just an awful lot.
Just cool. And TV, do you have a DVD library?
That was given to us, it was donated, and Ray, Merv Spooner
Yeah,
from Marshfield
yeah. Gave you that.
gave us, he says, I've got this spindle plate, 33s and 45s and 78s. So we have all these donations given to us, and we didn't have anything to play them on.
Wonderful.
And then Merv donated, they were big cribbage players.
Uh-huh.
He
Oh,
donated the most unusual cribbage
Perfect
award
boards.
that I have ever seen. I think it's here. Well, no, that's not, I don't know where it is now. But we had the Gaines Connect 4. I'll sit down and play with the seniors. But those
are
are,
cribbage boards.
yeah, that's some, oh, here it is. And it's so heavy.
Oh, look. Yeah, I see it. Wow.
But that is something that's very
Oh,
old.
look at that.
You know, when I took over in Marshfield, we were getting ready to move.
Yeah.
There was boxes under the sink or somewhere of pictures of the seniors. And
Oh.
so I had no clue who all these people were.
Oh.
That's my carpenter.
Uh-huh.
That's when we were working here.
Yeah.
But those pictures, one of my volunteers, I had them go through and try to name them. I
Yeah.
have all these albums,
Oh, here's Bruce.
and they put them all together.
Do you know?
But
that
way
Bruce?
back, look at this, Ada Russell.
I don't know her. Oh, wow. Look at that.
They put them all together and labeled them
labeled
because they knew them. We didn't know them,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
you know, and that's what happens a lot of times.
Yep. Yes, we're going through that on a personal level.
Yes,
On a
and
personal
I've been
level.
through it, but
Who's this?
I don't
Oh,
know.
I do know. Let's see.
Well, see, we need to name
Yeah,
them.
we need to name them.
But I have all those albums and I want
Wow.
a place to, I did have a place where I put them out before we grew.
Mm-hmm.
I had them on the bottom of that stand where seniors can sit and look at them
Nice.
because it's so important
Mm-hmm.
to see how the center has grown.
Yes.
This is way back.
Is this, so is that, where
I
is
don't
this? You don't even know.
No, I don't. We
Huh.
used to carve pumpkins too.
Oh.
We'd have students come in and help. No, I don't know because the center has been located
Right.
in the Plainfield Fire Station and Goddard College.
Wow.
So I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I had taken
Oh,
these.
Jean.
Jean, oh, Jess. Firecracker is her name. I nicknamed her Firecracker.
Do
She
you
was,
remember sitting next to me at her funeral?
No.
Or memorial service. I guess it
No.
was.
We live across the street from Annie.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you live there now?
Yeah.
Oh,
kinda
yeah.
Diagonally across the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she was my firecracker.
She
I used to
is.
take them on
It's a good
trips.
name for her.
Oh my God, she was, one time we went, I used to take them to the Canadian Club, to Sanders dinner,
Oh,
holiday dinner.
yeah.
Got the buses, so we'd take them down to dinner. And we got Bertie one time, one of our t-shirts. I used to get them for all my volunteers.
Yeah.
So I wrapped it up for Christmas. It was Christmas time, and I said, I need somebody to present it, of course, little firecracker. And of course, the auditorium, the Canadian Club is pretty full of people from all over. And I had told his press secretary that we wanted to do that, so she called on us. And so Jeannie jumped up because she said she'd do it for me. And she got up and God, she was
Oh,
cute.
she is cute.
Tiny
She's
little
been to
thing.
our house at a dance, dancing.
Oh, yes, she danced. I've got her dressed up. She always dressed. I had them dressed for the holidays.
Oh.
Yes, I've got
See?
Merv Spooner in Hawaiian.
So you're keeping them active and having fun.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is Chris Christensen. He, his parents were a big supporter way back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I got
Goddard,
it.
so that was at Goddard, interesting.
So, yeah.
Huh, wow.
So I have lots of those.
Uh-huh, nice. Oh, this is in the dining room at Goddard. That's the, I worked at Goddard.
Oh,
This is
really?
the dining room, yeah.
See? This place is full of history,
It is full of
lady.
history. It is. My. Well, thank you so much.
Yes, someday I hope to have these out where people can,
Yeah.
because it's a great communicating tool.
Yes, people get to talking and telling
Well, yeah, they
stories.
remember and.